Alright, this is a CMS website created with Laravel. Let me show you what it does. Here in this website we have three roles. You're seeing the first role right now. This is a non-logged in user. You can check what are the products in this website in the all products section, and we have a running carousel. So now the second role, which is the login user. I'm going to register myself as a user here, and I'm going to name it as user3. We need to set the password, and I'm clicking on register. Now I'm registered user. So now you are a registered user. Now you can order. You can see the order button popping up, and with each order button you can see you can make an order. If this is an egg sandwich, you can make an order on egg sandwich. So let me order Italian sandwich right now, and I'm specifying the delivery date and time, and this is the phone number, and if you want you can pass the messages. Add more, click on order. So now as a user you have made an order. So let me check as an admin whether I have received an order or not. So let me get into the incognito mode, and now I'm logging in as an admin. Click on login. So as you are a admin right now, you have an access to these three buttons. You can create an order, you can view an order, and you can check. Oh, sorry, this is not an order. This is a product. You can check all the products. So let me check the order right now. So the user3 made an order, and you can make the status as accept or reject or hold. So as you are admin right now, let me create a product. So I'm going to add an ice cream, and choose the image for the ice cream. Click on save. Now as you have added the as you have added ice cream, now as a regular user you are able to see the ice cream as well in the dashboard. Now if you want to view all the added products, click on view, and this is the data table. You can go back and forth with this pagination, and if you want to search, you can search ice cream and it will show you. You can make this to list all 20 products at once. So as you have seen the three roles, the first one is non-logged in user does not have access to order button. The logged in user can make an order, and the admin can add, delete and update the added products. Along with, he can view the products which the logged in user has made. Tutorial and source code available on. As you have seen the intro, I have divided the tutorial into many sections. The first one is Laravel installation, and then we'll create a model. So this model is responsible for accessing all the database data and passing over to the controller. So we'll see how to create controller, and we'll install admin LTE in our project. As you see, as a backend, it's because of the admin LTE, and then we'll use the CRUD operation, and then we'll get into the middleware. So middleware comes into play when a user make an request of a URL, let's say a sandwich / create on the URL. So the Laravel first check the as a website. What it happens is when you hit a URL, you will get a page. So in between there's a process called middleware. So the middleware blocks and checks the role. If you are an admin, relevant pages would be displayed. If you are not an admin, then you will get a error message. So that work is done by the middleware. Then we have a database seeder. We'll discuss database seeder at the place when it's needed, because it comes as handy when you face a problem while creating database. And then we'll make a role manager. As I said, we'll be having three roles here: non-logged in user, logged in user, and an admin. Now we'll create a home page design. You have seen a carousel. That carousel is not a static carousel. It's coming from a database. All the images are from the database. Whatever image you add in the product, that will be displayed on the carousel. And then we have a foreign key relationship. So as you make an order, so here we'll going to use of the databases table. So the first one is user table, the second one is the product table, in this case it's sandwich, and the third one is the order table. So we are going to make use of three table and use the foreign key relationship, and then we'll see a hint of what happens when you create a database and when you create a table, and after some process you want to delete it, and in that case what you will do. So this 11 section is very crucial if you get stuck into that error in such way. So let's get into the code. Alright, let's start installing the Laravel. You have to type cmd and let the command prompt open. So get into the folder where you are saving the XAMPP projects. So in my case I'm saving it inside XAMPP and then htdocs, sorry, cd htdocs, and then I have stored it into a Laravel projects, and then here this is a place where we are going to install our Laravel. Now here in this case we are going to create a sandwich shop. So yeah, we have to paste this command. So I'm telling the composer create a project and download the Laravel package and name it as sandwich. The preferred version is 8.6.3. That's what I'm commanding the command prompt to do, and it will install all the related files of Laravel. Here in this case the Laravel package. Once it's installed, you have to get into the folder. Here in this case sandwich, cd sandwich, it's not samosa, it's sandwich, cd dot dot, and we have to install the UI package also. And once it's installed, we have to install again the bootstrap auth. Now the bootstrap auth, and now we have to run npm install and npm run dev. So you can see here it's making me to run. You have to run this code. Until you see this, you have to run npm run dev. Now let us open our project. So in that case php artisan serve, and it says you have to open this port, this IP address and port to view your project. So this is what we can see. Now if you log in, all the bootstrap, you see all the bootstrap is added properly. Now let me close this, and to close, Control C is the option. I won't be saying it again. Control C to stop the server. Now code and dot, and this will open your Visual Studio Code and load your sandwich shop in the Visual Studio. Now it has loaded. Now let's open the phpMyAdmin. So localhost phpMyAdmin, and the shop that we're going to create is the database that we're going to create is sandwich. So click on, and the database name is sandwich. Click on create and get into the env file, and here the database name is sandwich. It is just what we need to do. And I just want you to notice we are going to create the model. So once I run the code, there will be a model. So in the app, in the model, you can see there is only one model as of now, and in the database, in the migration, you can see there are default 4 files. So if I make a code for model, so the model is responsible for accessing the data from the database and sending it to the controller. So the role of controller is to get the data from model and display it on the view. I hope that is clear. Now let's just run the code that creates the model. So here in this case the model that we're going to create is sandwich. Just copy this and paste it, and once it is done, you'll see there would be a file called sandwich.php, and again that is the last 5th file in the migration for sandwich. So here we have to create the columns for the sandwich. So once we create the column for sandwich, we have to migrate it, and then it would be stored in the database. So let me just copy those. So these are the column name, date, description, price, and category, and these are the relevant data types: string, text, integer, string, and string. Cool. And now what we need to do is save this and get into the command prompt and type php artisan migrate, migrat. So once this is done, it will give you an success message. So it says it's migrating, and if you see the database, previously it was blank, now it will be filled with some database tables: 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we have 6 tables, and you can see the sandwich is the table that we need to focus on, and these are the relevant column that is created for us. Cool. We have created the model. Now it's time for the controller. Let's just create the controller. So to know about the controller, if I type sandwich slash create, it will take me to the file for creating it will take me to the file of form that will allow me to enter values and send it to the database. So to create these kind of routes, we need to create a controller. So it's just same as we created for the model. So it's sandwich, the R stand for resources. Resources mean relevant functions. And now again, I forgot to show you in the app, in the HTTP, in the controller, previously there was no sandwich. So as I run the file, the sandwich controller shows up. So these are the resources which referred on the command, the I, see the R. So once this is done, so we just need to understand the flow of Laravel. So what do I mean by that? So if you see, if you click on home, the server is not running. You have to run the server. So if you type the IP address, it shows the home page. If you click on login, it will show you the login page. If you click on register, this will show you the register page. So where this all coming from? Laravel has a special file called web.php in the routes. So usually referring to the URL and the relevant page shows up. It's called route in Laravel. So that's why we are in the routes folder in the web.php. So you can see whenever there's a call for home page, just return the view called welcome. So where the view is, so in the resources is the folder that holds all your all the PHP files in the views, and you can see this is the welcome. So this welcome.blade.php refers to this welcome. So whenever I search for slash, the welcome shows up. Not only that, whenever I search for some URL, if you see hello and click on search, let me save this. You can see it's not saved. If it's not saved, it will be dot instead of cross. So now again, if I search for hello, the welcome shows up. So I hope you understand. Whenever there's a search for this URL, this relevant function runs and the relevant code shows. In this time, inside the function, we have a relevant code called view. So here the view is home, so which is welcome.blade.php. So if I remove which is not relevant for my code, so this code comes from, this code is for the menu, and let me remove whatever is there below. So if you click on refresh, you'll see the hello is gone because I have removed it. So only the login and register shows up. So if you want, you can keep refresh this, all of them shows up. Make sure it's saved. You can remove all. I don't think we needed this. We need this. Close this, and you can type welcome page, and now the welcome page shows up. Cool, I hope you understand. So now we need to create two s- two two files. The first one is, let me just show you the home as well. Let me just remove all which is not needed. So further, let me show you home. Whenever there's a search for home, we return the home shows up. Let me show you. Whenever there's a search for home, it goes to the controller called home controller. The controller will be inside app http. So previously it showed the view. Now it has some code. So you can see this code refers this file home controller, and you can see the auth is there. So whenever there is a auth, that means without logging in you won't be able to access it. So let me comment that. And again in the index file, so you can see in the web.php, in this file, so as the code written, when there is a search for this URL, get into this file, and inside the file get into this function which is index. So here it is index, and again nothing but it is just showing the home. So refresh this /home, you will just see you're logged in because the code says so. So you can remove that in the home.blade.php. Just remove the except controller, remove all, and just type home, and you will see the home shows up. So now you need to understand the structure of Laravel. So the main file, you see this is a file, but as a HTML user you might have understood that where is head and where is the footer, the body tag, the head tag, it all comes from the lay app file. So where is the app file? So in the same directory you will see there is a layout, and you see there is a app.date.php. So this is the single file for single head file for all the PHP page which we are about to create. So here we have head, so at the bottom you will have close body, and in the home.blade.php you will notice there is a section called @section and content. So this section, whatever you write here, will be replaced by this code. So you can see @yield, so this content should match with this content, and whatever you write here will be replaced by this code. I hope that's clear. So now we need to create two files. So the first file is going to be, so let's create a folder because this is for sandwich. So inside the sandwich we'll be creating a file called create.blade.php, and one more file which is index.blade.php, which will show all the values in the database. So now we need to copy the same code what is inside the home, save it, and a file is created in the relevant folder. But in the whenever there's a call for the URL, the Laravel checks for the routes web.php, but here there is no relevant. When there's a call for, let me just copy this, when there's a call for the URL called sandwich/create, it should call the relevant controller. Here the relevant controller is sandwich controller. Let me just save this, let me just remove all to avoid confusion, or else it will be very difficult to manage the file. So app http controller, here we have sandwich, just copy this class, and we need to use it at the top. Copy this, so use and the relevant file name is this one. So we are using this, and now we can access the sandwich controller over here. So when there's a call for create, get into the function called create, and the relevant route, the route name is going to be sandwich.create. The same way for the index, get into the index function, and the route name is index. So I'll show you why the route name is important, because the URL can be very huge, but the route name can be very simple as this. So that's the reason, but the main use is I'll let you know once we create sidebar. So now we have two functions, create and index. So index is there, create is there. So why I chose this name, because Laravel comes default by some functions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7. Laravel comes with some 7 functions, so we have to use those for the CRUD operation. So we can create our function as well, but it's recommended to stick with the default one. So now when there's a call for the index, just show return view, and the view is coming from sandwich. Instead of slash, here in Laravel we use dot, and the function file name is index. Don't forget semicolon or else throw an error. The same way, create. So when there's a search for sandwich slash create, you'll see the view of not in the routes, in the resources, in the views here, sorry, in the sandwich, create and index. So this is index page, and this is create page. So let me just search for create. You can see create page shows up. Let me search for index. You see index page shows up. Now we have to import the admin LTE. So for the to make the life simple, what I have done is I have removed all the irrelevant file and have only the relevant file that is needed. So we need a sidebar, and we need the body, and we need this uh, collapsible section. So what we need to do is, let me just open the HTML for you. I'll leave the link in the description, not to worry, you can just copy it. So I know the code for the sidebar, because this aside is responsible for having the sidebar. Just copy this aside and create a new file in the view, new file, and I'm going to name it as sidebar.blade.php, and just paste it. And you need to include this in the create an index page. So how you're going to include it, it's very it's simple. @ include, and it's going to be just sidebar. Since you are in the view folder, you can directly access the sidebar. And now your sidebar will be there, but without CSS and HTML. So you can see your sidebar is there. Now, so the relevant CSS file, you can see, is available here. Just copy this file and get into your folder. Here it's sandwich, and get into the resource folder, and get into the public folder and paste it. So you can see I have bundled all the files into the assets folder, and inside the assets folder we have CSS. So you can see all the CSS and JS file are organized in such a way that we have one common folder, and in the one common folder we have all the relevant files. I hope that is clear. Now you can see the main header and footer is loading from app.blade.php. So now we have to link those files. So here these are the CSS files from HTML. Just copy this and paste it in the app.blade.php. The same way for the script file, just copy these files and paste it. And now if I refresh it, there won't be any change. I hope the server is running. There won't be any change, because you see Here you don't have an IP address. So to create the IP address, so the what do I mean by that? It's the relative path, but it's the absolute path. So to make this absolute, you just have to follow the Laravel code, so which will give you the absolute path for the head and for the JS. Save it, and if you see, now it's linked properly. In this case, it's absolute URL. So if you refresh, you can see the sidebar has come off. So in the sidebar, so sidebar is coming from resources, views, sidebar, and here it's sandwich, and in this place you can use the route name route. So the route name is going to be sandwich dot index, again sandwich dot create. Refresh this. So if you click on this, you'll notice the URL getting changed. So you can see create shows up, the same way index shows up. So just to save time, what we will do is, anyway we would be needing one more URL. In this case, here it's instead of sandwich, it's going to be orders. So we'll be just viewing the orders. Cool. So we don't need this sidebar as of now. So we have imported this. Now it's time for the CRUD operation. You can see, let's create the CRUD operation. So to create the CRUD operation, get into the create file, create.blade.php. We need to paste the code for the form. Let me just do that. Copy that and paste it. If you refresh this, the route is not created. That's why it's showing you an error. Let me remove that. And the code is not properly pasted. That's the reason. So in the app.blade.php and in the admin.lt index, so just before that, you see the main wrapper, it holds 3 child, 1, 2 and 3. So you can copy these and paste it above our yield. 1, and we have page the sidebar. This is sidebar, and rest of the sidebar, I don't think we need this content. And we have a wrapper. I think we just need to copy this. Refresh this. Cool. Just copy paste the code which I have provided. So we need to paste them inside the card body. And now this file has the text field, text area, the price and the choose button, then the save. Now you have to fix this. So again, or CSS fix. So it should be fixed. Just copy this code and paste it in app.blade.php. It's just a style, so it's better to have it in the head section. Refresh this, and now it's gone. Cool. As I said, in the create, make sure to have encrypt type form data, or else your form won't get submitted, and we need the cross-site required surgery, or else you will get the error called page expired. Now we have the input field. Make sure to have the name as same as the column name, the name description, the name price, and the name image. So these all name is similar to this. We don't need category, so mistakenly use the category. Get into the, if you want to delete the table, just get into the structure, and let me just remove it from my code as well. Structure, category, drop, and now your column will be deleted. Yes. Cool. Now once you click on save, all the data will get into the action. So here we are going to use a route name which we have not created, but we'll create it. Route, and the route name is sandwich dot create. So instead of create, it's just going to be store. So let's create a route in the web.php. So store, store. So the method is going to be post, and relevant function is store, and the name route just we have created is store. So in the sandwich we have a store. Will you make use of the model to store the data in the database? So the model are in the file structure, like we have app. Inside app we have a folder called models. Inside the models we have our sandwich. So in the store, all the data can be received from this. So you can see dump and die, dollar request, and dollar request all. So if you click on save, if everything works fine, you see you're getting the value null. So in the create, the name, description, the price, request all should come. I'm sorry for that. Click on save. You see the name, description, and price, and where is the image we haven't uploaded. So you can see this token is coming from this CSRF to avoid cross-sites request forgery. I would request you to Google it to understand more about it. So we need to call the model. The model in this case is sandwich, which we have called here, and use the create facade, and the name, these are the column names, and these are the relevant file names. Sorry, name of the input field, name, description, and you can see the path. So now usually Laravel what it does is it gets into the storage folder. If I'm talking about the image storage. So if you upload the image, it will be in the storage, in the app, in the public. So here in the public we'll create a folder. So better to copy paste into, so here we'll access the image from the input field and use the store function and ask the Laravel to create a file called sandwich in the public folder. So the public folder is in the storage folder. You can see storage app public, and once it is done, save it into a variable and use the variable to store it into the database. And once it is done, redirect them to the index page, because after inserting, all the file can be accessed viewed from the index page. So you see, redirect route, the route name is going to be sandwich dot index, and the message is going to be stored successfully. Now we need to access this message in the index.blade.php. So it will be inside the resources, views, sandwich index.blade.php. So after saving, we'll be getting the images from the message. So you can see the keyword that is message, and if there is any message, the message will be displayed over here. So now let's try to insert the values. So the first one is egg sandwich, egg, size is 150, and choose the file. So I'll link the file in the description. In the images you'll find sandwich, and this is the egg sandwich, and save. So it says you are making a mass assignment. So whenever you make a mass assignment, get into the models. In the sandwich, here you need to create a variable called guarded, and says don't guard anything. That's the reason I'm placing the empty array. So now click on save. You see it is stored successfully. The message is coming from the index.blade.php. Since we have not followed copy pasted the code properly, let's just use the code for index file. And now you need to understand one thing. So to show the index page, we need to access the database and display the data in the database. So we have this data. Now to show this, we have to get into the web.php. So index is referring to the index sandwich. So index, instead of returning view, what we need to do is let's just install the pagination as well. So before pagination, let me just give you a look of how does it feels. How does it look? Sandwich dot get, and we have all the sandwich in this variable, all sandwich, and send this variable with the view while returning. So with the help of compact function, now we can access this in the index.blade.php. Cool. Now what is happening is I have created a table, and I'm accessing the values which I have received from the controller, and accessing it one by one. So there would be a multiple rows. So here this sandwich refers the first row. So get the first row name, first row description, first row price, and we don't need this for now. And you can see we are linking, we are getting the images from the storage folder, use the facade, and access the data coming from the database. So before that you need to link php artisan. So let me just show. In the storage folder you would see a file has been created called sandwich, and there is one file that is uploaded. So we need to link this storage folder to our public folder. You can see public. At present we just have 3 files, so we need to link the storage and public. So you have to storage colon URL, storage link. So you can see it is linked. Previously it was 3, now it's 4. Now you are able to access this image. So this one as of now, let me just get rid of it. if I get into index, the server is not running, the server is running. See, the one data which you created is available. If you want to create one, so cheese sandwich 200 cheese, click on save. So we have a cheese sandwich, and you wish to create one more. Chicken, click on save, and we have a chicken sandwich too. So now you can access directly the view. So let's import the data table. So data table, internet is down. You need to link the files in the app.blade.php. Let me just do that. This is CSS, copy this, just type link. It's not working, that's fine. We'll use this. This is link for CSS and this is link for JS. And you have to use this for initialization in the index.blade.php. Make sure your table has this ID. So if that doesn't work, what we need to do is get into the app and just before your script where you added the script, make sure you call here, and you can see you can view all the added table. So if you want to modify, let me just try it by creating one more. So Italian, click on save, and you can see the data table shows up. And if you want to modify only 3 to show up, you need to modify the code. So this is the code in the app.play.php just below where your script is. Refresh this, only 5 at a time shows up, and if you want to make it 3, that is also possible. Cool, I hope this is done. So you can search by this way also, egg shows up. And now it's time to make the edit and delete. Now let's work on edit and delete. Now in the index.blade.php we have a third button. Here we'll have button and it's going to be edit. So instead of button, let's just make a href, and the class btn primary, and here the URL is going to be, let us make a route, and it's sandwich dot edit, and again we need to pass an ID also. So the database will have an ID. Let's pass this ID. Cool. Now in the web.php let's create the edit. Here we will be accepting the ID, so ID, and it can be get, sorry, it could be what, get. Let's try. And the relevant function is edit, and the route name is store as we have created. Now in the edit, in the edit function, let's just show the ID, whether we are able to pass or not. Refresh this. So the ID, let's try. The ID is 1, and for this one the ID is 4. 5. We are able to add it. Now to edit this, we need a form similar to the create.blade.php. So it's better to copy all and create a new file and call it as edit.blade.php. Save it here, and here instead of save it could be edit. And if I refresh this, in the web.php, sorry, in the controller, I want to return view, and the view is going to be what, the sandwich dot edit. Click on edit and you see edit, so you are able to get the 1. So since we get the 1, now we need to use the model. The model is sandwich, and use the find static method, pass the ID which we got from the URL, and you will get 1 row. So sandwich edit, so we'll pass this to this view with compact function. Now we can access this 1 row. We can access this 1 row in edit.blade.php. In place of value, in place of placeholder, we'll use value, and since it's 1 row, we can directly access this with name. Let's try. Undefined constant, it's a variable. So you see egg sandwich. So if I edit cheese sandwich, you'll click on edit and you'll see cheese sandwich shows up. The same way we can have this in the description, and you can have this in place of fries. Instead of placeholder, we'll just make this fries. And just to show the image, we'll use image tag, and let the width be 100, and we can pass the storage class URL, and then we can use the value from the database, which is image. Let's try whether you're able to fetch the data. Yes, cool. Let's try the other one. Click on chicken sandwich, so the data related to chicken sandwich shows up. And if you click on edit, we just want this to go to update, and the method for the update is going to be foot, and let's use the route. Let's create the route for this update. So it's going to be foot, and it's going to be update. Relevant function is update, and the edit is also update. So the name route is also update. So here we need to pass the ID also. So in the edit.blade.php, pass the ID as well. from the database column ID. Now if you refresh, if you click on edit, you see the ID is there. Now in the sandwich we will be able to get the ID, but okay, here in this tutorial we are skipping the part of, or okay, shall we make it? So well, I'm skipping the validation. I thought to skip the validation, but let's just create the validation as well. Now in the create, if I try to save, you're getting the error. Now what we need to do is we need to create a request, and it's going to be it's sandwich store. Close this, and in the here there's a request folder, and here we have sandwich. I have to make this true, and we have to create the rules. So the rules are name, description. Name is the value of the input field. So name attribute, these are the name attributes, and this is name is required and its string, it should be 3, and minimum value is 3 and the maximum value is 40. Description is required, its string, the minimum value is 3 and the maximum value is 40. Price required, numeric, minimum value 3, maximum value 50. Image required, the JPEG and PNGs are allowed. Now you have to use this sandwich request in the controller, and we are about to store. So in the store, just replace this, and we will be getting the error in the form of error variable. So get into the create.php just above the form. Just as we pass the message, just show the error. Refresh this and make sure your server is running, and go back and refresh again. If you click on save, the sandwich does not exist because in the controller we have to import the request as well. So in the controller, inside the app we have HTTP. Inside the HTTP we have a request. Inside the request we have this class. Now if you click on save, you'll see some validation error. Cool. So the same validation we have to create for the edit part as well. So let me just copy the code, and in the just like we have made, but here it should be its update request, sandwich update request, and similarly one more file in the request would have created, which is update. We should make this true, and similar to this, but here there is no need for image. I'll just show you why. So we just need make sure these three should be compulsory. Now copy this, and in the controller import the request again, and where we are accessing it in the update, and just make this. And now we need to write the code for update. So as we get the ID, so we need to do the same thing, sandwich to update, and we can pass the ID over here, and we will be getting the relevant row. Now we need to edit this relevant row. So again we are saying that update the row with the input field value. So these are the name attribute, and again we have a path. So here in this case there could be two situation. If the request has image else if the request does not have image. So if the request has image, that means user modified this. Let me get into view. If there is a value here, that means user has updated the image. So here user updated image. If the user has not updated the image, in that case we need to use the same value as we received from the database. Equal to the image. If the user has image, then we need to get the image from the request and then store it inside public slash sandwich and store the value inside the path and then update it accordingly. Cool. Once this is done, make sure you're redirecting with a message saying that update successful. Let's try, and let's just change the chicken to non-veg sandwich and try to edit. Updated successful, non-veg sandwich. So let's try to change the image. Let's make this cheese sandwich and we'll edit it again. So you can see cheese sandwich, both of them has the same image. Let's just edit and change it to chicken sandwich and then chicken. Click on save. So now you are able to edit it. Now let's make this delete. So let's just delete it with a pop-up. So in the index.plate.php, we'll use the same thing, and instead of that we will be calling a model and danger delete. So we'll use bootstrap 4 model from W3 school. Let's copy this section and paste it before for each, because each button will have unique pop-up. So just copy these whole section, sorry, this section, and place it over here because we are activating the model. So we'll just make this a button instead of anchor tag. So we'll make this delete, and to make this unique we'll pass the ID to it. And now we're able to open the model for each button. Close. Cool. So since that is done, we can make this danger, and for the we'll just have the model body. We don't need header and footer. We'll say are you sure, and we'll create a form here. And when we create form, CSRF is important, and we need to externally specify the method called delete, and the action is going to be, again we need to create a route for delete, sandwich delete, and we will be passing the ID to say that delete only one ID. And here we would have a button with input type submit value. Let's just we did that we delete, and we can have class vtn danger. We need to create this route. So in the web.php, create again, it's going to be the delete, the URL is going to be delete, and the relevant function is going to be destroy, because it's inbuilt and predefined. We can't change that. So if you want to change, you need to make a different. So now let's just see whether we are able to get the ID. Dump and I $ID. This ID will get from this parameter, and from this parameter gets the ID from the URL. Refresh this. If there is no any error, cheese sandwich, click on delete. So the method, so here in the create.blade.php, I guess, not in the create, or in the index. Where is the index? So many things got open and we really get confused. So here it's going to be at the rate. Refresh it, delete. Are you sure? Yes. And input type submit. Spelling mistake in submit. And you're able to get the ID. Now we need to use this ID in the controller and delete it. And you see the model is sandwich, and find it and delete it, and get into the relevant page and see the message delete successful. Let's try to delete Italian pizza. Click on delete, and we have, yes, Italian pizza is gone now. So now it's time for the middleware. Now we have completed the CRUD operation. Now to get into the middleware, you just need to understand the database. In the database we have a user. User is blank now, so let's just register, login. So first we need to register as a user, user 1@gmail.com, password, confirm password, click on register, and now we are logged in. So in the database you'll see the user has the database has the user1 data. Now what if I want to create a login for the admin? So there is no login for the admin. In that case, we have a file called database seeder. So in the database, in the database seeder, you need to create the admin login. So what do I mean by that? So in that case, the admin has a value called isAdmin. So in the user, you will see we need to add so there is a mistake here. In the user, we need to add one more value. So where do we go? In the migration, in the user table. So let me just delete this table for you. User drop. and now we are going to create a value called is underscore admin. Default it's going to be 0 since we have deleted it, and now we have updated the code. Now you have to write the code php artisan migrate, and now it will migrate, and now you need to type php artisan migrate, and now it will be migrated again. And once it is migrated, you can see the table user which has is admin. Cool. Now let's just try to register again as a regular user, and user once we have to create again because we have deleted it. We have deleted the previous one. At the rate gmail.com, click on register. Now we are logged in. Let's just see the value for the isAdmin. IsAdmin is 0. If it is admin, then it should be 1. So what if I want to add a user and that user should have a admin value 1? So in that case, the database seeder comes handy. So database seeder, here we need to make a reference for the model user because that's what we are going to create. It's inside app models. Inside models we have user, so we can access that user and give the name, email. Here the variable name is underscore admin, and then just save. So now to execute this command, php artisan dv : seed. Now you will see, refresh this, there would be a admin UI monk and the admin value is 1. Now we can segregate two user as two user roles. The first one is admin, the second one is regular user. So I hope that is clear. I made use of ChatGPT to understand the issue. You can also do that. Now only the admin should have access to the CRUD operation files. So in that case, since you are logged in as a user right now, you can type sandwich and index and you can view all the product only when your server is active. Okay, I have deleted all the database, so I have deleted all of it again. So that's why you're not able to view the products. Fine, that's not the issue of the course. Now in this module, the user should not have access to this. So in that case, we will be creating a middleware. So let's create a middleware. We'll create a middleware, stop the service, called shop admin. Once the shop admin is created as a middleware, the HTTP middleware shop admin. So here you should say, if you are the admin, then only proceed to this step. If, then only proceed, or else redirect is underscore admin in our case. Check for authentication. If the authentication is admin, if the authentication has the column admin equal to 1, then proceed to the next step. Now we need to register this authentication with this middleware, which is shop admin, in our kernel, and get into the route middleware and copy this, duplicate this, and this is shop admin, and you can name it as shop admin middleware. Now we need to create a route group in web.php. So these all values can be accessed by only admin. So in that case, we need to create a route group. Now we know our route name. So the route name is uh, shop admin underscore middleware. Only the admin can have access to this group. Copy this and paste it. Now let's just check. We are a user now, and let's see whether we are able to access it or not. And it's sandwich create, and you are redirected to home. You are redirected to home because you are logged in. So if I log out and check as logged in user and try to sandwich create, and you would be redirected to login page. Cool. The middleware is also done. Now database status is also done. The role manager. Now it's time for the role manager. I think role manager is also done. Now we need to get into the front end design. So as you see, if I search for the login, we have a welcome page. So in the welcome page, we need to display all the values from the database. So how we are going to do that? Let me just copy paste the code and explain it. So now when there's a search for the home, so we'll say, let's just make this 2 times, and we don't need this. When there's a search for home or when there's a search for the IP address, get into the index, and in the controller, home controller, in the home, you are just returning the home. So in the home, we need to use the we need to use the model, which is app, and inside app we have models, inside models we have sandwich, and with this sandwich we can access all the values, or get and send this, keep it into a variable called all sandwich, and send this with compact function, and we can access this in the home.blade.php with the help of for each, and we'll use a table here in the home.blade.php, and we are receiving the all sandwich, refresh this. So the problem is we have not imported the home controller. Oh yeah, we don't have to install the, I don't think we need to import the home controller. Let's just check again. It's very straightforward. I'm sorry for that, because we have no data in the database. So let me create one and display it. Now since we are in the home, we are able to see all the product that is listed. I have listed all, and this is coming from, this is very straightforward. We have seen for each many times, so we don't have to worry about it. Now let me just get the intro text, and this is intro text along with the carousel. So now we have to make sure to follow the key and value pair, and it's a sandwich. I'll explain the bootstrap code. It's very straightforward. And it's UIMonk sandwich shop. And now this is a static HTML. We don't have to worry about it. In the carousel, which is not showing as of now. Get all the sandwich which we get from the controller and access it as key value pair. The key is not treated as of now, and we can use this to get the image. Refresh it. Let's just see and check the inspect. Yes, we have carousel, and yeah, we need to add one more code here. I'll just specify it. For the bootstrap carousel to work, you need the first carousel item to have the active class. You can see the first carousel item should have an active class. We don't have that. That's the reason showing up. So now it's there. So you can see. So this is the container padding X, axis Y, and this should be in the center and just above. So the carousel code, this is responsible for the carousel to show up. So in between the images, just change the code for in the src attribute, and you will get the image from the database. And you can see the arrow is also working. This is the static HTML, do not worry about it. Now $row call 12 all products products, and let this be text center. Save this. It's taking some time. Refresh this code and you'll see all products inside H3 and top and bottom 5 padding. Cool. And now you're logged in as a admin. So before that, this text area, this should be text center. So you can see the float is disturbing the flow. So we'll use the CSS in the app.blade.php. Just make this flow none. Now if you make this flow, you will see all of them are text aligned center. And I have changed the call setting. Previously it was call 4, now it's call 3. So we can have 4 in one row. So this is for the non-logged in user. He should view this. So if you are an admin, then you need to have the access to dashboard. So in that case, in the home controller, let me just show you. So you can see if you are admin, you can see these two values, and we'll create the button for order later on. So if you are a logged in user, and if the logged in user has the admin value 1, then show these buttons. So you are a logged user. So if you log out, you won't be able to see this button. Cool. And if you are a logged in user, you should not able to see the button for order. Let's just create a button, and it should be bootstrap model, and the button would trigger. So this button would trigger the model. We'll say order button primary, it should be small btn sm, and each of them will have a unique button, sorry, unique ID. In that case, just copy this and use the ID just as we done for the delete. The same way we are going to do it. Just copy these all, and here there would be a form. Just before end for each, here again unique model for unique order. Refresh this. you'll see the order. If you click on order, a pop-up shows up. Cool, but this should not available for the non-logged in user. So in that case, if you are a logged in user, then only you should be able to see this at the rate end if. So you're not right now, so you won't be able to see the button. Now if you're logged in as user, I think user 1 or user, I'm not sure, user 1. If you're logged in as a user, then you will see the order. Now it's time for creating the order module. So we have seen front end, we have seen foreign key relationship. So now we will be creating foreign key relationship, and then we will be modifying the DB after creation. Now let's focus on order system. So to create order system, you need to create a model first. So as we done, it is just the model is responsible for accessing the values from the database. So let's create a model, and the model is going to be order. Just copy this command and give it, and you will see a model would be created. Since the model would be created, now what we need to do is, in the migration table, we need to create the relevant columns. It's stuck, so that's fine. Now let me use all the values that is required. So we need user ID, the one who ordered, the date and time, the delivery date and time, the phone and email, the item ID or sandwich ID, and then we have price, then we have message, and default is going to be pending for status. So once these all are done, now migrate this, click on create. You see in the table you should see orders, and these are the values, these are the table. Now you see there's a foreign key relationship. The user ID is the foreign key here, the sandwich ID is the foreign key here. So if you make a duplicate of it, and I'll make you understand what I mean. So the user ID is equal to the ID of users table. The sandwich ID is equal to the ID of sandwich table. Cool. Now let me just insert a fake value and let the value be 1 for the ID and the user ID. You see in the user table we have 1 and 2. The 1 is the user. Let's use the value 1, or non-admin user, the date and time. So let's say 28th Jan and some value. This is time, delivery date and time. The phone actually should come from the user table, or no, the phone will be coming from the pop-up. So while delivering contact 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and then the email address, this email address will come from the email. So user and then sandwich ID, so the relevant sandwich ID, let's say aloo sandwich, which is 1 again, and the price you can name anything. So it would come from here. So let's just make this a random value, and the status is, make this add cheese also. A client is sending, user is sending, and let the status be pending. Click on the created at and click on go. So one row would be there in the orders table. So we need to display this order in the, as you are an admin now, let me just log in as an admin, and in the sidebar you should have the order. Log out. Now log in as an admin. Click on login, and now if you click on view, you'll see an order. If you click on view, so we need to create the controller that would be responsible for handling the views. Control C for the controller, and it's going to be order controller. Paste it. So we have an order controller now in the HTTP controller order controller. So you see, so here the index is going to be the responsible. So use the order controller, and when there's a call, actually again only the admin should able to access order dot index, and the relevant function is going to be index, and the URL route name is order dot index. So in the sidebar we'll just name this as order dot index, but in the order dot index controller, so in the controller let's just return view of, we'll create a folder called order, and inside that we'll create a function file called index. So similar to what we have done for the sandwich, create a new folder and going to name it as order, and inside the order we need a file. I'm going to name it as index.blade.php and copy all the all the code from index.blade.php to this one. And now since to display all the value, we need one thing. We need the use of the controller, use of the model. So in the app, in the models, we have order, and use this order to get and store it as all orders, and send them to the view with compact function, and use this over here. So we'll be accessing the table. So now you see I have modified the index table. So order all orders, get all the orders, and hard refresh this in the view. But here in the view you are able to see all the, so that's a problem in the controller. In the web.php, here we have order, but here we should say order controller. Refresh this. Attempt to read property name on null. So now you need to understand, when there is a call for this URL, get into this index, get into the index function, and now you see we need to make a foreign key relationship. So get into the model called, where is the model of sandwich, and you need to create a function. Sorry, in the order you need to create a function. So for that, let me just make this protected guarder here as well, or else it will throw an error while updating. Now when we are saying that we need to specify the foreign key relationship for user as well as for sandwich. So here this is a variable, and now we need to import the model. Inside app we have models. Inside models we have user and sandwich. Now we can access the data of user table using this function. So in the index.relate.php of order, you are saying you are using this order and using the function and accessing the name. Refresh this. So order index.relate.php. Actually there was an issue with my variable name, that's why it was showing an error. Now this is the order that we have made with database. Now if I click on accept, the status should be accepted. If I click on reject, it should be reject. If you click on hold, it should be hold. So in that case you need to create a form, and we'll have an action, and a method is going to be post, and since it's Laravel we need to use @csrf, and method is going to be put. And now we have input type submit, the name status, and the value as accept. So in the route what we have is change status function, order.change status function. So we'll create a function in the web.php. So change.status, the function is this one, and the URL order change status, status, spelling mistake. Now in the order controller we need a function similar to this one. Since we are changing status of a single row, we need the ID as well. So in the web.php we need the ID also. So in the controller we need the ID of the order and pass it as an argument to the route. Refresh this. And now in the order let's just dump and die just to show the ID, $ID. That means you're able to access. Refresh this, click on accept. Foot is not, so it should be get foot. Foot is not supported, we can make this get as well. And so let's try post. Let's try again. Refresh this, click on accept. Yeah, dump and die, the one value is available. Now you need to write the code for accessing the order and updating it. And now here it's very simple. We are updating the order, and we are getting the ID and we are making the status and redirecting to the order.index page. Cool. Refresh. So the value of this is accept, this is reject, and hold. If we click on hold, undefined request, Actually it should have request as well. Change status. The get is not supported. Okay, now it says it's forced. It should be forced. At the rate method forced. In the web.php, yes, we have forced. Cool. Refresh this. It's because we have to refresh this again and use it in a proper way. Too few arguments. Control change status. One fast. Okay, here we should have this request. Accept, reject, and hold. Cool. Now you are able to change the status. Now let's use the pop-up in the home.blade.php. And now in place of model, just remove this, and in the home, yes, there is undefined count. Let me remove that. Refresh this. And now we need to understand we are inside the for each and use the sandwich variable. And we don't have this route now. Let me remove that. So if we click on cheese, you see the cheese value and the input field value is from hidden. Now let's create the route for the sending all the values to the store. Which is order.store. So here in the controller we have a function called store. So dump and die dollar request all. So if I type something, it's not defined. So in the web.php, here we need to create a route for store. It's going to be put URL store, function is store, the name is store. Click to order, and if you type something, click on order. Force is not supported for this store. It's going to be put. Now in the index, sorry, in the home, at the rate method put. Let's try now. Any value. So we are able to get all the values from the controller, and now we need to store the value. We have a problem here. The home controller is not responsible, but we need to create a controller for, not for the order controller, but for the home controller. So here instead of store, the controller here is going to be home.store, and home dot order. So in the home, it's going to be home dot store. The relevant controller is home controller, and now we will be storing the values. Let's try whether we are able to click on order. Just type some random values. Click on order. Home dot store is blank, it says home controller. It's home controller, not order controller. Order. Click on order. Yes. Now it's time to store. So to store, we in the home controller we need to have access to the order, and with order we'll use the create as we did for the sandwich. The create, copy the whole thing and paste it here. Here we don't have image, so what are the data that we get from the home? The first one is date, time. So here I am passing some input field value. I'll get it from database. Now the input field value can be accessed. You can see sandwich ID is an input field value. That were all things we have as hidden. Now get into the controller. It is better to get value from the database. Structure, not user but on the orders. So these are the values. Now actually access them individually. Now we need some values from user as well, because I'm logged in as a user and I need that value. So I'll use the logged in user. I'm the logged in user now. So here in the store of home.blade.php, we need to pass a value ID. So the ID is going to be the user ID. So to get the user ID, you can get it this way. Auth.user ID. Now the store function in the web.php should access the ID as well, and this ID will pass it in the home controller as this one. Now this is the user ID and this is the current logged in user. So current logged in user, date from the input field, time from the input field, and phone from the input field, the user email, the logged in user, and the request, which is sandwich ID, and finally the message, and return them to the home, and that's it. Let's try whether we are able to add it or not. So order the cheese pizza, and date and time, phone, cheese more, or more cheese. Click on order. It says store not found. Home store, actually we have not refreshed it. Click on order, column not found, cake ID. Actually I have copy pasted it. It has the cake ID. Actually it has sandwich ID. Field price does not have a default value. Actually we need to set the price as well. Yeah, input type price, name is there, price. Yep, let's just check as a logged in user. Orders, and yes, admin has ordered chickenless wedding. Accept it. Yes, accept it. Now what we need to do is, we have not used passed the message over here as we have ordered, so let me just do that. So it's very simple. As we get into home.blade, just above all products, here we'll paste the message that we get from the controller. Let's just exile it. Let's just add more tomatoes. Click on order, and you see order sent successfully, and in the Laravel you should see an order. Attempt to property name of null, order.index. So over here in line number 45, here we have name. There's a problem with the name here on the table head. In the order index.blade.php sandwich name. Oh, that's a problem here. Here it should be the class sandwich. Yeah, now you get all the names. Now let me just get into logout. Cannot read property of id home.blade.php. On line number 102. Let's just use an if-else condition. @if if you have id @endif dollar user id equal to, save this, and we can have else here, @else user id user id equal to nothing. 0. Let's try again. So I used a ternary operator, user id, it's optional. If user is there, then id, or else 0. Cool. Now I'm logged on. I'm not a I'm not a logged in user. I'm not an admin, so I won't be able to see the order button. So if I register and make it user2 @gmail.com, confirm password, and now I'm a logged in user. Now if I make a order called stacked and specify the time, and if we click on order and let me log in as an admin so that I can check the order, log out and log in as admin, UI monk, and click on login. And now let's get into the dashboard, view all orders, and you can see your order is at the bottom. So let me change the order now. So in the order controller, before getting, you can use this order by ID in this descending order. Now if you make a refresh, stacked order, stacked, the one which you have ordered at present came at the top, so it's in the descending order. So that's cool. Now you're able to order as a logged in user. Cool. The scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening.